What is up, YouTube? How's it going? I do apologize. I didn't get a video out last week. I had a lot going on. And yeah, so we're back up to date. We're starting off with our first of our Deck of the Week series. We're kind of sort of already doing this. However, I just kind of wanted to put a label on it and, provide you guys with decks that are really fun to play, are competitive, and it kind of takes you out of your norm. I know personally, I have those weeks where I'm just like, you know what? I want to play a different list, but I don't want to just put together some kind of random janky list. Now, there's nothing wrong with jank lists. I'm all about 100% love a solid jank list, especially that feeling when it goes off. So much fun. This, however, is actually an incredibly competitive deck that I came across during the SCG tournament last week, along with my fellow MTG teammates. All played against this list, and we all agree that it is just absolutely devastating as soon as it goes off. One of the downsides is if you're not hitting your mana. I mean, to be fair, that's also with any deck list, but this one in particular, you're trying to get out a lot of damage really fast. So if you're not hitting those mana drops, you just sort of don't make it. Anyway, most of the victories you get with it are incredibly fast. Today's video is going to be a best of 3 matchup I had against a cycle deck. As the stream lead for the US Army Esports, like all their streaming platforms, I was actually monitoring the Twitch chat. We were on the front page yesterday, and it was super exciting. And I was able to just hit this deck list, get some games in, and not even like a fully pay attention. And we all have those days, right, where you're trying to knock out your dailies, or you're trying to grind the ladder, and you've got, I don't know, maybe your dogs are barking around in the background, maybe your kids are getting into something, maybe the wife's telling you got to do something. While simultaneously you're trying to get plays in. This is actually kind of a deck that's relatively conducive to that, as cast creatures, hit face, win the game. I did punt game 2, and I'll fully admit it, and I will showcase it today. But anyway, without further ado, let's go ahead and dive a little bit into the list itself. We are running 4 of with Edgewall Innkeepers. We do run quite a bit of adventure cards with 4 ofs from Rimrock Knight, Bonecrusher Giants, Lovestruck Beasts. So that way you can kind of build that card advantage. You're able to draw cards, especially mid to late game if it gets to that point. And maybe you're trying to top deck into like maybe a cleave or something like that, or some other type of finisher. We also do a lot with Domri's Ambush, believe it or not. We have a 2 of in the main board, but boy, does it come in clutch quite often. Not only are you able to spot check an enemy's like their side of the board and kind of open it up for your attack phase, but you're also able to remove a creature and beef up your own, so you're actually outputting even more damage. Even that 1/1 counter goes a long way, especially since a lot of your creatures are 4/4s, 3/3s, etc. Especially when it's paired with something like Questing Beast, and you're able to just spot check relatively decently sized creatures, especially against the mono green list, which I know we're kind of seeing quite a bit of on the ladder. Multiple different variants of mono green, which I'm actually an incredibly big fan of. I love the way mono green plays right now. And I feel like Gruul is kind of in a really good place, especially going up against those particular lists. Looking at our sideboard, we have things like Soul Guide Lantern, kind of helping us with our sack decks and various other graveyard type of hates. Embereth Shieldbreaker also kind of helps us with our various like Witch's Ovens, etc., etc. Lava Coil is also more of like a spot check type of card, allowing you to help regulate the battlefield and open it up for your creatures. Same goes with Dragonfire. Scorching Dragonfire also kind of helps out with some of those cat like cycling lists that we're going against, and then Shifting Ceratops is just an absolute no-brainer when it comes to the control matchups, especially since we're starting to see excuse me, a decent amount of flash coming in. I've seen it occasionally on the list, whether it be Dimir, even some mono blue, which is kind of spicy. It's just an absolutely devastating card, even during like the Agent of Treachery days. Something that can't be targeted by agent is just, it's so powerful, and once they've utilized their Aether Gust, it's almost unstoppable. It kind of puts them on that 4-turn clock, and it is just so much fun to play. So, all right. Hopefully you guys enjoy this deck as much as I did. Let's go ahead and dive straight into the matchup. If you haven't already, make sure you guys hit that like and subscribe button. I appreciate y'all taking the time in your day to hop over to the channel and take a look at this deck list that I've actually had a lot of fun playing. It might even overtake my my beloved mono green. As a heads up, we did hit a little bit of lag during like this recording, so you're gonna notice like the very beginning portion is a little bit stuttery. It's not your phones or not your PC, it was mine. Yeah, internet sometimes. we'll go ahead and take the play. So this is actually a pretty decent opening hand, right? It's a little bit unfortunate that we do have the tap mana for our green source for Edgewall Innkeeper as well as Lovestruck Beast. But we're going to go ahead and play out our Fabled Passage first, so that way we can dig for that green source and we're not like held back any farther, especially since we don't know what we're going against yet. We'll leave it uncracked. Just, I mean, it's just good habits. Go ahead and crack it here, grab our green source, and then we'll get our Edgewall Innkeeper. And if we happen to draw into another green source, which it looks like we do, I'm going to go ahead and probably do both Edgewall Innkeeper as well as Lovestruck Beast to get the 2/1/1s out, as well as it kind of opens up the ability to get a Lovestruck Beast out next turn if I'm able to. If he doesn't play any creatures, I think I like the idea of Gruul Spellbreaker here and giving him haste, so that way he can just get in, get some damage out, and then pass turn, because that's 5 points of damage right there. I also don't know if I really mind too much offering the trade with Edgewall Innkeeper. Better safe than sorry. I believe I should attack with Spellbreaker as well as the 1/1 human. We're fine. We still have the 1/1 from Innkeeper to turn on Lovestruck Beast. Go ahead and give him haste. If he does decide to trade here, we're also completely fine with that, as that's gonna slow down his gas. We're gonna go ahead and offer up the trade with the 1/1 human as well. He's gonna go ahead and take it, and that works in our advantage, especially as you note, we have Embercleave online. This means next turn we could hit him with a cleave and do quite a bit of damage. In fact, we can actually cleave and Rimrock Knight, which is going to be super good for us. So he's going to go ahead and cycle, buff up his Flourishing Fox, get an extra 1/1. But the board stays looking okay. We could potentially even hold back our Edgewall Innkeeper just to keep Lovestruck Beast online, or I could just trade now. I think I'm kind of okay with getting rid of his Rescuer, right? Because then he's not going to be able to flood the board quite as much, and we're able to actually output even more damage, since we do have the cleave in hand. With Gruul Spellbreaker, having trample is going to be absolute bananas. So we're going to go ahead and swing out. I'm assuming he's going to block the 1/1 as that takes offline the Lovestruck Beast, but it's also going to put online Embercleave for us. So we're going to go ahead and flash it in and put it on Gruul Spellbreaker. It is a little bit unfortunate we don't get to Rimrock Knight now, but we should be able to be just fine doing it next turn. I also don't believe he has enough cards in his graveyard that have cycling to be able to do anything about my Spellbreaker yet, as usually that's their form of spot check as their Zenith Flares. And even if he does, I mean, that's one less Zenith Flare that he's got in his list. I mean, generally speaking, we're seeing 3 copies. Some cycle lists do run the full set, but in this particular situation, looks like we're doing pretty well. I'd imagine he's going to probably buff up Flourishing Fox here to 4/4, and then probably hold him back, hoping that he can survive another turn. However, unfortunately for him, we do have the Rimrock Knight, and it's just going to be an absolute beatdown. He's going to go ahead and block here. We're going to go ahead and cast our Boulder Rush side of Rimrock Knight. Boom, boom. He's going to remove his Flourishing Fox, and then we're going to do lethal. All right, so pretty fast, easy game one. Looks like he was hurt on mana, so that does play in our favor. I'm not going to lie. Going into the sideboard, I think I kind of like maybe Lava Coils here. We could even get away with some Scorching Dragonfire. However, against the Cyclist, it's really about applying pressure as fast as possible. So we have to be very cognizant of what we trim out of our main board, so that way we can continue to apply that pressure. I think I went ahead and went with the Lava Coils. It's kind of nice having a 4 damage exile card, especially for something that gets bigger and bigger like Flourishing Fox. And if not, it takes care of literally any other creature in the Cyclist. Scorching Dragonfire would do the same. However, we get a little bit more leeway with Lava Coil, I think, as far as like if he gets that extra cycle point. So there's our first punt. I was watching the Twitch chat. We were on the front page of Twitch at the time, and I thought to myself, all right, so I'm going to dig for a red source with this. Then I'll pretty much be online across the board. And I was like, no, I clicked the forest. Ugh. At the very least, we try and come back with it. Casting out 2 Pelt Collectors to help try and regulate the board. If he attacks with Valiant Rescuer, I think it's kind of worth the trade up for a Pelt Collector for the Valiant Rescuer. If he just attacks with Flourishing Fox, then we're just kind of like, I think he probably should have attacked with Flourishing Fox and then did the cycle in response to. I wouldn't have offered that trade, but I think that would have been a good play for him. He didn't offer up his Valiant Rescuer. All right, so we at least hit our red source, right? It might be a little bit too late, but we're gonna go ahead and I'm thinking about doing a Domri's Ambush on Valiant Rescuer, but I think it's probably better to just get Questing Beast online as fast as possible. So we're gonna go ahead and put Paradise Druid out. If we were to top deck into another land, or if we had another one in our hand, maybe we'd play a little bit slightly different. Otherwise, we're just going to go ahead and just let this play out here. We're probably going to take another three points of damage. If he does attack with his Rescuer, I'm fine with trading one of my Pelt Collectors for it. We're going to apply a little bit of pressure here. I think this is another punt on our part. I don't like the idea of offering up both Pelt Collectors here. I'd rather him in a defensive position, so that way we're able to regulate the board state and get to where we need to be, especially having a Domri's Ambush online. I want to get to a point where I have Questing Beast out, and then I can Domri's Ambush and clear his Flourishing Fox, and then start setting up for the attack at that point. So it is a little bit unfortunate that I made that decision there. All right, so going into his turn, he is getting a lot more cycling this round. He's got his mana. We are a little bit cognizant of Zenith Flare now, since we are starting to get closer and closer to that 10 life mark, especially since he did just get his Stinger out, which is going to be a little bit brutal for us. He's going to be getting Flourishing Fox bigger and bigger, getting more 1/1s from his Valiant Rescuer, and then just starting to straight up ping us for damage now. So do we give up Paradise Druid? I went ahead and said no, just that way I guarantee Mr. Questerson next turn, and that way I also have a Death Touch 4/4 here. It's going to get Pelt Collector just a little bit bigger. We're going to go ahead and pass turn. Oh, excuse me. We're going to attack first, because the only thing he could block with is Valiant Rescuer, and I think he's just going to take the 4 damage. So may as well get that extra damage output. If we were to survive another turn, I think we would Domri's Ambush and then get a Pelt Collect out, or excuse me, Lovestruck Beast out. However, I'm assuming he probably has the Zenith Flare by now, and we're already super low on life, so I think we just kind of lose here. Yeah, so he's going to ping us for 7. And if I did my math right, I think he has 7 now. 7 or 8 in the graveyard. Cards with cycling. So that's going to increase Zenith Flare's power. Yeah, may as well attack us. I kind of feel like he should have just hit me with the Zenith Flare off the bat. Oh no, he didn't. Okay. Oh, that's right. He's tapped out. I'm crazy, guys. I'm assuming once we get back to his turn, that's when it's gonna go down. Okay, so we're down to 5 life. So now he just needed the mana. He had to fill his graveyard with cycle cards. Now he has the mana to be able to do it. That is my bad. Obviously, we're just gonna attack here. It's a free 4 points of damage. Not a lot else we could do. Thinking about doing a Lovestruck Beast, gives us another chump blocker, but there's really not a whole lot of value there. Yeah, he's just gonna hit us with Zenith Flare, as we kind of expected. So it was at 9 cards in his graveyard. Oh, I guess I was right initially, right? Because we did kill both of his creatures, so that's 2 more cards of cycling that were in the graveyard. So we guessed 7, and it ended up being at 8, or excuse me, 9. All right, so going into game 3, and like I said, that game was just full of punts on my part. I do apologize for the lackluster play. I got my head back into the game. We're back in this. I'm okay with this hand. We have 2 Bonecrusher Giants, so that way we're kind of able to spot check the early game, and that's kind of where Cycle can get ahead of us, right? If he can get some creatures like Flourishing Fox, and some of those other like Nightmare type of cards. Once it gets steamrolling, it becomes a little bit of a problem. So we're going to go ahead and try and regulate a little bit. Get the board state a little bit more in our favor. We're going to go ahead and kill that Flourishing Fox. Okay, so Draneth Healer, we're not super worried about it. Yeah, he gains 1 life per cycle, but that's fine, right? That's something we can easily mitigate with more damage. So I'm kind of liking the idea of Gruul Spellbreaker. I'm thinking about maybe holding up Bonecrusher Giant, but I also want to start applying pressure and putting him on his back foot sooner than later. So I'm going to go ahead and give him haste, come out swinging. He's going to go ahead and just take it. Hit me for 2 points. Sure. We also have 2 Domri's ambushes online, so which is kind of nice for us. So if he does cast a creature, we're able to just kind of spot check it, as well as Bonecrusher Giant. Preferably Bonecrusher Giant. But we're going to draw to a third one. Sure. We could also Domri's ambush, right? So that way we can give him a 1/1 counter and output even more damage faster. I'm thinking about it. Bonecrusher Giant is a little bit more of a conservative play, but this play also gives us a 1/1 counter, so we're also outputting more damage just a little bit faster. Turn 3, we've already got 6 points out on him. I mean, that feels okay. Sure. Well, 7 total, I guess, because he did gain 1 life. And especially since Gruul Spellbreaker also has the trample, so it's something he has to be cognizant of. He needs to get more creatures out so he can block him. If we top deck into another mana, which we do, that puts Mr. Questerson online. Oh yes, the 4 CMC card that just has way too much text on it. We're gonna go ahead and swing out, get him down to 8. So turn 4 is looking pretty solid for us. He's gonna gain just a little bit more life. He's got to get a blocker online. I guess we get him down to 1, and he's just kind of okay with that. Now we just have a bunch of answers in our hand, right? There's really nothing he could do here. Even if he were to cast another creature, we've got Domri's ambush, we've got a Bonecrusher Giant. So anything he would have cast, we could have just gotten rid of. That gives us lethal. Boom, boom, easy win, guys. A lot of fun. All right, so step into the office. I truly appreciate you guys' time. Thank you for checking out the this deck list. I can't take full credit for it. I did play against it during the SCG tournament, like I said before, and it's been a lot of fun. If you guys end up crafting this deck, or at least a close variant, please let me know down below in the comments, and let me know what you think about it. Maybe some of the tweezes that you made that have really helped make the deck go off even better. So appreciate y'all for tuning in. Make sure you guys hit that like and subscribe button if you do like the video. This is the first series of Deck of the Week. I'm really excited about it, and I'm hoping you're looking forward to next week's episode 2. I have no idea what list it's going to be yet, but I'm excited for it. Appreciate y'all for tuning in. See you in next week.